Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Just Chatting. Got a little guest there. Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Just Chatting Football. It's been a little bit of time since I recorded my last video. The Premier League table predictions video is now up. Took me a little bit of time to get the editing sorted on that one, as it was such a big video to get done. I was also a little bit poorly, a few things going on, so I fell behind a bit, but hopefully I can get caught up and get these videos out relatively quickly. I've got a few game weeks of head-to-heads with myself and Charlotte. We have been predicting the outcomes of each game in each game week. We are now past game week 3. We're moving into game week 4. So this video is all about the first 3 game weeks. My predictions, Charlotte's predictions. We'll see who has come out on top in each game week. I have made a promise to Charlotte that if she beats me come the end of the season, then I will be buying her some form of treat, the value of which will be based on how many subscribers we have come the end of the season. We've certainly gone for some contrasting results on some of the games. There's a clear leader at the moment, so let's just get into it. So in game week 1, we had 8 games altogether in the Premier League. Manchester United and Manchester City were given an extra week's rest due to their continued participation in European football at the end of last season. 8 games to go through. Let's take a look at what our predictions were. So, looking at the first game in game week 1, we've got Fulham versus Arsenal. I went for a draw with this one, and Charlotte went for an Arsenal win. In this first game week, I thought we might see a few surprises. How wrong I was. Arsenal did in fact get the 3-0 win, so that's 1 point to Charlotte on this one. So on to game 2, we had Crystal Palace at home to Southampton. Charlotte went for a draw in this game and I went for a Southampton win. There wasn't much between these two teams in the end, and Crystal Palace did nick this one 1-0, so neither of us get a point for that game. So moving into the third game, we have a Liverpool versus Leeds. Now this was the opening game of the season. I genuinely thought Leeds could cause an upset in this one, but Liverpool are just really good at grinding out wins at home. Really, I went for a surprise here. Charlotte went with the safe bet. Leeds gave them a good game, but a few penalties in the game, and Liverpool managed to nick the win. So that puts Charlotte 2 up in this first game week. So we move into game number 4, which is West Ham versus Newcastle. I really think West Ham are going to struggle this season. So naturally, I went for a Newcastle win. Charlotte agreed. She went for a Newcastle win. And the result was Newcastle 2, West Ham 0. So we both picked up a point for that one. Charlotte 3-1 ahead in this first game week. So we move into game number 5 of the first game week, which is West Brom versus Leicester. We both went for a solid choice here. We both went for a Leicester win. And of course, Leicester beat West Brom 3-0, a point each to each of us. So that keeps Charlotte ahead at 4-2. So we've got 3 games left in this final game week. 3 opportunities for me to catch up with Charlotte. The first of those games, we have Tottenham versus Everton. Now, we both think that both of these teams are going to do pretty well this season. I went with a draw. Charlotte also went with a draw. So no chance of me catching up and taking over in this one. The result was Everton 1, Tottenham 0. So we were both wrong on that one. The score remains 4-2 in game week 1. So with 2 games left, we have Sheffield United versus Wolves up first. Again, this one, I was a little bit undecided. Sheffield United at home, I thought they could maybe get a goal. Wolves can certainly get a goal, especially away from home. So I went with a safe draw on this one. Charlotte, on the other hand, stuck to her guns and went with a Wolves win. And of course, Wolves beat Sheffield 2-0, putting Charlotte ahead an unassailable lead at 5-2. Having a bit of a stinker this week, am I?
Oh, for God's sake, pull yourself together, man.
And so we move into the final game of game week 1. Brighton at home to Chelsea. Chelsea have made some fantastic signings. Quite a few of those are not playing just yet in the team. Chelsea didn't play too well in this game. Brighton were absolutely fantastic, and the result of the game was absolutely no reflection on how well Brighton did. The end result, Chelsea did win with 3-1. So a point to me there, a point to Charlotte. So the winner of game week 1 was Charlotte. She takes the early lead, and we move ourselves into game week 2. Now, this was the first game week to have all 20 teams playing. Manchester United and Manchester City are back into the fold. 10 games to predict, plenty of opportunity for me to turn things around and level things up in this head-to-head. So we'll kick things off with Everton versus West Brom. I went for an Everton win here. Charlotte also went for Everton, and the result was Everton 5, West Brom 2. Both get a point for that one. Starting off game week 2 with a draw. Moving into the second game, we have Leeds versus Fulham. Again, we both picked the same team. We both went for a Leeds win. So no opportunity for either of us to take an early lead in this game week. The result of that one was Leeds 4, Fulham 3. Again, we both went for Leeds. Leeds win. That keeps things level in the first game week at 2-2. Then next up, we have Manchester United playing their first game of the Premier League season against Crystal Palace. Now, I thought Crystal Palace could do something in this one. Manchester United maybe being a bit rusty, not much match fitness in the team. Charlotte stuck with Manchester United on this one. So she went for a Manchester United win, backing her grandma's team. I went for a draw in this first one. I really wish I'd been brave and gone for a Palace win, because that's exactly what happened. Palace beat Manchester United 3-1. Neither of us get a point, and we stay on 2-2 in this second game week. Okay, moving into the next game, we have Arsenal versus... Oh, I know you said Arsenal versus Arsenal there because I'm looking at our predictions instead of the actual game. We have Arsenal versus West Ham. Arsenal should be doing well at home against West Ham. So I went for an Arsenal win. Charlotte also went for an Arsenal win. And Arsenal won, but only just. They won the game 2-1 with a relatively late goal. I think something like the last 5 minutes of the game. But we both chose Arsenal, so that keeps things level for us at 3-3. Next up, we have Southampton at home to Tottenham. Now, again, I tried to be a little bit brave with this one. I thought Southampton could do something, carrying their form from last season. So I went for a draw in this one. Charlotte went for a Spurs win. And of course, Tottenham absolutely smashed it. They beat Southampton 5-2, giving Charlotte the lead in the second game week and giving us a score of 4-3 to Charlotte. Next up, we've got Newcastle versus Brighton. Now, Brighton were very, very good in that first game. I wasn't too sure if they could keep it up for the second game, so I went for a Newcastle win in this one. And Charlotte played a little bit safer and went for a draw. We were both wrong, and Brighton absolutely smashed it and finished the game 3-0. So Charlotte stays ahead of 4-3. Next up, we had Chelsea versus Liverpool. Big game at the start of the season. I went for a Chelsea win in this one. Charlotte went for a Liverpool draw. I went for a Chelsea win more out of hope, I think, than anything. Liverpool's defence are there to be attacked. I thought we had the players to do it. We decided to sit back. We decided not to be as positive as we have been against Liverpool in the past. Christensen gets sent off for a stupid tackle. I say tackle, a rugby tackle on Mane. Changes the game. So that paid dividends for us, really. Liverpool nicked the win. Charlotte went for a Liverpool win, so Charlotte gets the extra point there, and she moves ahead 5-3 in this game week.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Next up, we had Leicester versus Burnley. Now, in this one, I went for a Leicester win, and Charlotte also went for a Leicester win. And of course, Leicester did win. They won that game 4-2. Leicester, storming start to the season, and we both pick up a point. That puts Charlotte on 6 and myself on 4. 2 games left, so all I can do here is level things up. Fingers crossed. And we move into Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. I went for a Villa win. Charlotte also went for a Villa win, so no opportunity for me to catch up, and you can see where this game week is going. Red card in this game, and Villa nicked it 1-0. So that puts us on 7-5 for game week 2. And we move into our final game of game week 2, which was Wolves versus City. Now again, much like the United game, City, not much match fitness. First game of the season for them. I thought Wolves could catch them cold like they did last season. How wrong I was. Charlotte went for a Manchester City win, went for the solid bet on this one, and Manchester United? Gosh, the City fans wouldn't forgive me for that. Manchester City ran out as 3-1 winners, giving Charlotte an 8-5 win in game week 2. She's pretty darn good with her predictions. I think she was too short in game week 1, and she was too short of 100% in game week 2. So Charlotte storms into an early lead, winning 2-0 in the head-to-head. And so we move into game week 3. This is my chance to start pulling things back. Clearly, I am not very good at taking risks and picking risky results. It's just not working for me. So I thought I'd go a bit more solid in this one. I went for a couple of risky options, but then I also went for quite a few solid choices, as it were. So let's see how that pans out for me. First game of game week 1, we have Brighton versus Manchester United. This was my first kind of risky choice here. Manchester United didn't have a great first game against Palace, so I went for a Brighton win. Charlotte stuck with her grandma's team and went for a Manchester United win. This was a very weird game. This is the game that ended and then restarted, so Manchester United could take a penalty. So again, Brighton performing really well, but Manchester United, after the restart of the end of the game, won it 3-2. So that gives Charlotte the early lead in this game week. I wonder where this is going. Second game of game week 3, and we have got Everton versus Crystal Palace. I went for an Everton win in this one, and Charlotte went for a draw in this one. Turns out it was quite close in the end, and Everton won this one 2-1. So I've pulled it back in game 2. So 2 games in, and it is 1-1 between us. Moving into West Brom versus Chelsea. I went for a Chelsea win. Charlotte went for a Chelsea win. Some catastrophic mistakes from the Chelsea back line gave West Brom an absolutely stonking lead, and Chelsea a mounting decline. They were 3-0 down at half time, came back out, played their socks off, and got it back to a 3-3 draw. So no points to either of us in that game, leaving us at 1-1 for this third game week. And we move into the fourth game, which was Burnley versus Southampton. As you've seen from my prediction video, I think Southampton are going to do relatively well this season, and I was going to stick to my guns. So I went for a Southampton win in this one. Charlotte wasn't so keen, and she went for a draw between Burnley and Southampton. The result was 1-0 to Southampton, so that puts me ahead 2-1 in game week 3. Fingers crossed I can keep hold of this lead. And talking of leads, next up we have Sheffield United versus Leeds. And off the basis of how well Leeds have started this season, I went for a Leeds win. Charlotte also went for a Leeds win. So Leeds did in fact win the game 1-0. That gives us a point each, so we move to 3-2 for the game week. Game 6 sees Tottenham versus Newcastle United. Again, I wasn't too sure with this one. Tottenham haven't been fantastic, even though they'd won that previous week 5-2. So I went for a draw with this one. I thought Newcastle signings could do something against the Spurs side. Charlotte disagreed. She went for a Spurs win. And the result was Tottenham 1, Newcastle 1 with a very, very late controversial penalty. But it was decided that Dyer handballed the ball in the box. It got me an extra point. So a draw there puts me ahead 4-2. And so we move into our next game, which was Manchester City versus Leicester City. And on the basis of Manchester City's game against Wolves, I thought I'd go with a bit more of a solid choice, and I went with a City win in this one. Charlotte wasn't so sure. Charlotte went for a Leicester win in this game, and lo and behold, Leicester win it 5-2. Football's gone crazy. It's absolutely bonkers at the moment. But Charlotte wins that one, Leicester with the win there, and she starts to pull it back to 4-3. Next up, we have West Ham versus Wolves. I went for a Wolves win here. Generally, they are pretty darn good away from home. Teams tend to be more attacking against them, and so they get a bit more space to play. So I went for a Wolves win. Charlotte went with a West Ham win. And of course, West Ham beat Wolves 4-0, giving Charlotte another point and pulling her level with me on 4-4. All comes down to the final game, and that game is Liverpool versus Arsenal. I went for a Liverpool win in this one. I couldn't see Arsenal doing much in this, and so Charlotte also went for a Liverpool win, and Liverpool won the game 3-1, which gave us both a point. In this game week, we have no winner. We have a tie. So there we have it, guys. That is the first 3 game weeks done and dusted. And Charlotte takes a 2-0 advantage as we move into the 4th game week. If you've enjoyed this video, if you're interested in seeing how this head-to-head plays out as we go through the season, then please do hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be the first to see our next head-to-head video. Thanks again for watching. Do take care, guys, and I will see you in the next video.